Hey guys, okay, so does this look familiar? Lexus vibes, you know the drill. For those of you guys who do not know, I ended up gifting my dad a Lexus for his birthday. So you guys are probably seeing some deja vu when I would drive my Lexus. So yeah, but long story short, I'm actually back home. By the time you guys see this video, I'll already be back in LA. But I decided to just take a week off of, just work. I mean, I'm still like working here in between and stuff like that, but I decided to just come back home and visit family for a week. We got here on Friday and it is Monday today. We're gonna be here until Friday, so we're doing a whole week out here. I feel like I just needed some time to just spend with my parents. I wanted to just kind of share with you guys what's been going on and what's been happening back home. I've been staying with my mom and my sister at our old house, and yeah, I'm just trying to like distract myself for a couple of days. I feel like I know a lot of you guys always hear us say, like, and I say us, like people on social media and stuff, that we work so much and you guys think that we don't do nothing. You guys think that we just like sit at home and do nothing, but our jobs are very stressful, and the emotional and freaking abuse that we get on the internet on a daily basis and just everything that we deal with can really like fuck with people, and it has nothing to do with that or anything like that. But I feel like I never take like breaks or anything. I always say like I'm gonna take a few days off, and then I don't end up taking a few days off, just like I am right now. Like I'm still here talking to you guys. I always say that I need to take some time off, but I never do. I mean, I'm still like on social media, but I'm on there to have fun and like be me, not so much like work. So I feel like that's something that I definitely needed. But if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know that I told you guys that some scary stuff happened, and I know that it's something that's very common, but it definitely put life into perspective for me. I feel like I focus so much sometimes on like work and providing for my kids, and not realizing that they just need my time. They just need me to be present. And I feel like that's something that I definitely needed, so, and not just with my kids, but with my family. Like I feel like I don't talk to my sister as much as I used to. Like I feel like I don't spend enough time like with my family, obviously because I'm back home, so I don't get to see them every day, and I'm not with them like 24/7 like I used to when I used to live out here. So now that I'm in LA, like I just think about like, anytime that my sister calls me, I'm like, oh my god, I'm busy, like I can't talk right now, or like those are just kind of things that you don't really think about in the moment, that when they're happening, as opposed to later on. You're just kind of like, shit, maybe I should have talked to her on the phone, or I should have called my mom today, and talked to her longer than I did. So it's like those things, that are happening. So obviously Easter was on Sunday, so we already had a plan for us to come for Easter. But then I told Lisa, like, let's just stay here a week and just, get back to like us, and like being here and not just like on work mode, and with obviously everything going on at the house. And it's just been a lot. It's been really, really stressful, and we're just really busy. And with 2 kids, like life with 2 kids is just crazy. I know that my mom's excited to see the babies and stuff like that, but I wanted to just share with you guys obviously what ended up happening. But about a week and a half ago, and I don't want to go too much into detail just because it was a very scary situation that kind of happened, and I don't even know, like it still doesn't feel like real. Like it felt like I was like in a dream. But I know a lot of you guys on my Twitter kind of put 2 and 2 together when I said that it was like the scariest thing that could ever happen to a mom. And unless you guys have gone through this, you know exactly what feeling I'm talking about. But my kids, well, Max started off like kind of having like a little bit of like congestion, and he was kind of like with a runny nose, like his eyes were like really watery and stuff. So I assumed that they just had allergies, because I have allergies, and especially where we live, my house is like in the middle of a bunch of trees. Like we have so many trees around us, and you could literally see the pollen falling into our house, So I thought it was just allergies, so I didn't really think much of it. He started kind of like sniffling and just like, looking kind of like he was having a cold, but not so much. And then he felt a little warm. I was just like, okay, maybe he's catching a cold or something. I gave him some Tylenol, and he was fine. Like, he didn't show any symptoms of anything happening or anything wrong. Like, he just felt a little warm. So next couple of days start passing. I call my sister and I tell her, I was like, oh, like, Max was feeling a little like under the weather. He was acting like himself, so he was normal, you know. And then I told her that Camila was fine. Like, she's always calling me and asking me about the kids and stuff. So I told her Camila was fine. She was like, she didn't show anything like there was anything wrong with her. Like, she didn't even look like she was catching anything that Max had caught. So I want to say like 2 or 3 days later, it was crazy because I had just talked to my sister and she had just asked me about Camila, and I told her like, oh, she's fine. Like, she didn't even catch anything that day. The day that she told me that, around 3 in the morning, Camila had a seizure, and I already knew what was happening because one of my friends that I had just recently actually talked to, she was telling me about how her son had a seizure, and she was telling me about how like crazy it was, and like I was just thinking like, oh my god, like I can't imagine like going through something like that. And it was crazy because I had just talked to her about it, and I was telling her like, damn girl, like you're so strong, like how did you even go through something like that? Like, I would have never slept again in my life, you know. Like, we were just talking about it, like having like a normal conversation, and then Camila has a seizure too. So she had a febrile seizure, which is caused by your fever, you know, skyrocketing, and it's very common in kids between the ages of 6 months to 5 years, I believe. But I will tell you guys, it is probably one of the scariest things that I feel like anybody, whether you're a mom or not, like just physically seeing it happen is just so traumatizing. Because I'll tell you guys just with details and everything that happened, but not with details because like I said, I am trying to like I'm trying to just not remember, but I want you guys to understand what was going on in my head at that moment. But I already knew that she was having a seizure because of conversations that I've had with other people, but that didn't make it any less scary, you know. So I was in the living room, and then all of a sudden I just hear Camila. I was outside watching a movie, and all I hear is Camila just like choking. Like, she was just, you hear her. It didn't sound like she was choking though. It sounded like she was kind of coughing, and she didn't show any symptoms of her having a flu, of her having a cold, or of her having a fever. Nothing. Like, she went to bed completely fine. She went to bed normal. So it was like 3 in the morning. Maybe it was a little earlier, like 2:30, almost 3 in the morning. I kind of heard her like coughing, and then the person who actually heard her was Miguel, and she was like, I think Camila's up, I think she's awake. So I ran to the crib, and Luisa was already sleeping. I ran to the crib, and then I just see her like seizing, you know, she was having a seizure, and I immediately pick her up. Like, my reaction was to just pick her up and hold her, but apparently you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to lay them on the ground. I had no idea, you know. I thought that I had to pick her up. I feel like that was just like a motherly instinct to just pick her up in my arms. So I picked her up, and then I think Miguel, or I don't even remember who walked in first. I think it was Miguel. I was yelling I don't know if I was yelling. I was just like, I said, can you guys call the paramedics or something like that. I just like, can you guys call the paramedics? Like, I was just like panicking, you know. So then Ulises walks in, and he's like, because he had went to the bathroom, and he walks in like half asleep, and he's like, what happened? And then I was like, Camila's having a seizure. Like, I already knew. I feel like it would have been so much worse if I didn't know what was happening. I feel like I would have freaked out 100 times worse, but I feel like I knew. So I was like, she's having a seizure. But it wouldn't stop. Like, it felt like forever. Like, it felt like it was going on for so long that I was just so confused on why she wasn't like coming back, you know. So Yvette's calling the paramedics, and Miguel is calling the paramedics, and they're both on the phone, and I have Camila in my arms still, you know. I have her kind of to the side because I didn't want her to choke up on anything, so I'm still carrying her. And then by the time the paramedics answer, they tell Miguel to lay her on her side and undress her, like take off all of her clothes. So at this point, I feel like I kind of just lost my mind, and I just started like pacing back and forth, and I felt like I was gonna fucking faint. And I was just like, I felt like so helpless. And honestly, like, I told Miguel, like, I don't know what I would have done if he wasn't there, because he's the one that took control of everything. So yeah, he's the one that kind of just took control of everything. I'm a little congested too, guys, because I think we got a cold. I don't know what we caught, but I'm congested and I'm emotional, so you guys know the mix, you know. So then he was the one that was taking care of everything, so he literally like had like followed all the instructions. And as soon as she started kind of like coming back, she started like, I think she was crying, like she starts kind of like crying, but like she's in pain, like something's hurting her. You know, like when your kids have a fever, or they're just kind of like achy y se quejan. Like she was just kind of quejándose, like, you know, like she was like, you know, like quejándose. And all I kept thinking about was like, is she breathing, you know? But because her breath was like when I was looking at her breath was just kind of like slowing down, and then it would like kind of go up, and then it would like slow down, and then it would go up. And Miguel was just kind of like pumping her like doing like chest compressions on her to just make sure that her breathing came back normally, you know, because she was kind of like taking long breaths. So I'm panicking, like I'm just like, is she okay? Is she breathing? Like I just kept asking like every 2 seconds, is she breathing? Is she breathing? Is she breathing? And I was wondering why the freaking paramedics were taking so long. And it's crazy because it felt like the paramedics were taking like so long, and we were only on the phone for like 4 or 5 minutes, you know, but it felt like it took like 30 minutes for them to get there. Like it felt like an eternity. And you know, we open the gate and the paramedics come in there, and they check her vitals, and right away he told me like she had a febrile seizure, and she was hot. Her whole veins and stuff looked like just really like popped out, and her skin was really red, her face was chapeada. She was just really, really, really red, and she was hot to the touch. So, you know, I went into the ambulance with her, and I went to the doctor with her, and then when we got there, they told me that it was a febrile seizure. They were trying to release her as soon as she got there, and I was like so just scared, and I was like, I'm not leaving until her temperature goes down. Her temperature was to 104. And I was just confused. I was telling them, like, I was confused. Like, I wish I would have known that she had a fever, so I could have, like, gave her Tylenol, and it would have calmed down the fever. But she wasn't even warm when we put her to bed. Like, she wasn't hot, nothing. She was dancing. She was, like, acting like her normal self. Like, there was no signs whatsoever that there was anything wrong with her. But the doctor did tell me that apparently the seizure usually is the first indicator that a cold is coming in, or that the fever was coming in. So he did explain to me that it's, like I said, very common, that it happens to kids all the time, and that he's hoping it doesn't happen again, but that for me to be alert and to know that it could happen again, especially since it happened once, but that she should grow them out by 5 years old. I'm telling you guys this information because if you guys are parents who have not experienced this, I think it's something that I wish I would have known more about, because it was not something that happens. I have 11 nieces and nephews, and none of them have ever like experienced anything like this. So that's why I was just kind of like thrown back. But like, I was just kind of like, is this like normal? To me, it didn't feel like normal. Like, I have 11 nieces and nephews, and none of them have ever had a febrile seizure. So how did all of a sudden it become normal? But then my mother-in-law, Ulises called her right away, and she was telling me that apparently Ulises used to have them when he was little. So based on my conversation with the doctor, he did say that sometimes it's not hereditary, but if the father or the mother have ever experienced it, it's very likely that your kids could experience it as well. I used to have fever attacks when I was younger, and I say fever attacks because my temperature would go really, really high, but I never had seizures. I asked my mom, because she's told me that that I used to get convulsiones, which convulsiones are seizures, but I think she just doesn't remember or something. But I used to get really, really bad fevers, and They used to get so bad that like I used to have to go to the hospital every time. And there was this one time when like I was like delirious and like my eyes were rolling back, and that's why I told my mom, I'm like, are you sure I didn't have seizures? You know, because I had to remember she told me that I had seizures before. But I'm just like, great, like my husband and myself have both experienced it. Now my poor Camila. So yeah, like I said, I wish it would have been something that I would have known that is so, I guess, normal, because none of the doctors seemed concerned. They were just very like, one of the doctors just basically came in because they admitted her. They were taking blood work. They gave her like IV just to make sure she was hydrated and make sure, and I told them that I wasn't gonna leave until her temperature was down. So by the time we left the hospital, her temperature was at 99.8 or something like that. So when we left the hospital, she was fine. She didn't have any more temperature. So that's why I was just like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from? You know, when they admitted her, they did tell us that they were going to test her for the flu. They were going to test her for COVID. They were going to test her for just other stuff that can basically cause a fever to skyrocket that high. And then Ulises and I also got tested for COVID to make sure that it wasn't us that may have given her something or that she may have caught something. I get COVID tests done pretty often because if I have photo shoots or if I'm meeting up with brands and stuff, they always require for whoever is gathering together, makeup artists, hair artists, like hairstylists and everybody, for us to get COVID tested to make sure that we're not transmitting one another. So I had a feeling it was not COVID just because like I said, I get tested on a regular basis. But then I just wanted to double, triple, quadruple check that, make sure that it wasn't like COVID, so thank God it was not COVID. And it wasn't the flu. It wasn't anything. She is teething as well. Her molars are coming in. I asked if that was maybe the reason. Like I just didn't get an explanation. I didn't get a reason. All the doctor just said is, babies' bodies are so, she tells me basically that when a seizure happens, it's the baby's brain protecting itself from like anything worse happening because the fever went up so high. So like I said, I just wish I would have known what it was, what happened, what caused it, but I didn't. So I know I didn't really go much into, I don't have a lot of information for you guys. Like I only wanted to share kind of what happened. I'll update you guys if I hear anything else, but just from what I did read and research myself, it's something that apparently happens to a lot of children. And if you guys are a mom of kids that are still under the age of 5 and they develop a fever, it's just obviously controlling the fever, making sure that it doesn't go up any higher, because things like this can happen, and I don't wish any mother to go through any of that, so when that whole situation happened, I kind of just, kind of when you just get into this like mentality where you just don't care about anything, like how do I say it? Like all those things that you cared about before, like your job. Like, not saying that I don't care about my job, but like all those things that you cared about before, like that were priority, like, oh, I need to get this done, or oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or oh my god, my house isn't finished, or oh my god, my bathroom, I need to go buy tile, like those things. Like, that's what I mean. Like, when you wake up in the morning and your first instinct's to do fucking shit that doesn't revolve around you and your family. Like, I didn't care about any of that stuff. Like, I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about getting anything done. Like, I just needed to take a few moments to like reevaluate my life, and just really sit there and just understand what was happening and be present and just be there. So I told Elisa, I was like, we should just go back home. I feel like I needed to come back here and just be with my family and have the kids be with my family and just take some time, to be with them again and remember when we were here and stuff like that. So yeah, that happened. But I just wanted to update you guys. This video is super long. I didn't want to pretend like everything was normal or everything was fine, so I thought it would just be better to just kind of fill you guys in with what was going on. While I was editing, I noticed that I didn't say bye. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just come on here and obviously update you guys. I'm back home already. I've been back home since Friday. It was definitely much needed. I just realized, guys, that I didn't even do an outro to the video. I did get a little emotional. I was actually going to refilm the video and not post that original content that I filmed, but I really wanted to just have you guys see where I was at the time, you know, like what I was feeling and how I was feeling at the moment. And although I'm feeling better now and like the kids are fine and we're all fine and our mental state of health is in a better place, sometimes it's really important to just take some time off to just find yourself and regroup. And it's okay, you know, to have moments where you just don't understand what's happening and what's going on. And this is by far you know, not just for us, you know, it's for anybody. Like we put so much pressure on life in general, and it's like, what is life? Like, what the fuck is life? Like, we sit here and we worry and we worry and we worry, and it's like, you know, like, don't get me into spiritual like stuff, because it's just it blows my mind just how focused we are on things that just don't matter sometimes. And I feel like now it's sad to me that it took this situation to happen to finally get to the point in my life where I'm just like Blanca, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, stop worrying about stupid things that don't matter and just be happy. Because imagine, like, we sit here and we worry like over and over and over again over things that don't even matter, or like people's opinion, or, you know, your job, and, you know, making other people happy and being a people pleaser, whatever the case it is, whatever the situation is for you. I'm just speaking in general. And we sit here and we just worry about things that don't even matter. And then what? You know, and then what happens? You know, like, we're the persons that are like sitting here, you know, crying or worried, or, you know, like, I don't even know how to explain, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know what I'm thinking, you know, like all I know is after taking this time to myself, like, I've just realized that nothing in life matters more than my happiness and my family's happiness and us just being okay. Like, nothing else matters. Like, I don't care about anything else besides making sure that my kids are taken care of and that my mental state is taken care of, you know, that I'm in a happy place and that I'm doing things because they make me genuinely happy, not because I'm trying to make other people happy. And it's all been, honestly, like, this past year, like, I feel like has been so crazy with my growth. Like I've evolved so much. My mentality has evolved so much. Like, I care so much more deeply. And I don't know if it's just because I'm going into my 30s now, but I just care so much deeper now. Like, I care about things I never worried about, you know? I don't even know if I'm making sense, but I just wanted to come on here and say thank you for watching, because I didn't say goodbye in my last video. I just kind of left you guys hanging. But I'm back home now with my kids. I am going to be posting some vlogs on here, on this channel, so you guys can just kind of know what's going on. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your guys' day. Thank you guys so much for listening to me vent. I appreciate all the messages that I received, and I appreciate all the support of those of you guys who genuinely know my heart. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next one. Love you guys.